Hi, my name is Leo. Here is the tale of the beginning of my regretful life. I know that now. But back then I thought I was the victim. Trapped, bored, unappreciated. That's the first thing you need to understand about men who cheat with their wife's sister. We have an incredible talent for rewriting history in our own favor. Maya was my wife for 10 years. 10 years. We met in college. She was the one who held my hair back when I drank too much. She was the one who sat with me in the hospital when my dad died. She built me into something functional. I was a chaos monster before her. She tamed me, gave me a house, a routine, a life that looked from the outside like a photograph from a magazine. And I resented her for it. I sent that sick. She gave me everything, and I started to see her as my jailer. The safe harbor became a cage. I'd look at her across the dinner table, calm and steady, and I'd feel this itch, this need for something unpredictable, something dangerous. Enter Chloe. Chloe was Maya's younger sister, the opposite in every way. Where Maya was quiet, Chloe was loud. Where Maya planned, Chloe improvised. She burned through jobs and boyfriends like fire through dry grass, leaving ash behind for someone else to clean up. Our parents adored her because she was spirited. Maya adored her because she was family. I adored her because she looked at me like I was a secret. It started small, a text, a joke, a laugh that lasted a second too long. She'd touch my arm when she talked. She'd remember things Maya forgot. My favorite band, the name of my childhood dog, little hooks that she sank into my skin without me even noticing. Maya noticed. I see that now. The way she'd go quiet when Chloe left the room. The way she'd watch us from the kitchen doorway. But she never said anything. She trusted me. She trusted her sister. And I used that trust like a fucking weapon. I remember the exact moment I crossed the line. We were at a family barbecue. Chloe was wearing this sundress, something simple, but she was standing in the sun and the light was hitting her, and she looked alive, more alive than anyone I'd ever seen. Maya was inside, making potato salad. My wife, making potato salad, while I stood in the yard fantasizing about her sister. Chloe caught me staring. She smiled. Not a nice smile. A knowing smile. She walked over, slow, and stood close enough that I could smell her shampoo. "You look trapped," she said. "I am," I said. And that was it. That was the moment I sold my soul. Because I wasn't trapped. I was married to a woman who loved me. I was standing in a beautiful backyard on a summer day. I had everything. And I threw it away because someone told me I looked trapped. The affair started 2 weeks later. Maya went to visit a college friend for the weekend, a girl named Sarah from Vermont. At least, that's what she told me. She packed a bag, kissed me on the cheek, and said, "Don't have too much fun without me." I waited exactly 4 hours. Then I texted Chloe. She came over with wine and takeout and this energy that filled the whole house. We drank. We talked. We ended up in the bedroom I shared with her sister. And I remember thinking, in the middle of it, this is it. This is what I was missing. This is life. I didn't think about Maya once. That's the thing about affairs. They exist in a bubble. There's no laundry, no bills, no arguments about whose turn it is to take out the trash. It's just the good parts, the stolen moments. You convince yourself that this is real, that this is sustainable, because facing the truth would mean admitting you're a monster. Chloe and I kept going for months. We got sloppy. We'd sneak glances at family dinners. We'd text under the table. We'd make plans right in front of Maya, coded in language only we understood. And Maya just smiled. She'd make us both coffee. She'd suggest we go to a movie together, just the two of us, because she was tired. She was always tired, apparently. Looking back, I realized she was creating space. She was feeding us rope and watching to see how much we'd hang ourselves with. But at the time I thought I was clever. I thought I had it all. A stable wife at home and a wild affair on the side. I was the king of the world. Then Chloe got pregnant. She called me at work crying. Not sad crying, scared crying. The kind of crying that means everything is about to change and you know it's going to be ugly. "I'm late," she said. I took a test. "Leo, I'm pregnant." My blood went cold. I remember sitting at my desk, staring at a spreadsheet, and feeling like the floor had dropped out from under me. This wasn't a game anymore. This was real. This was a person, a child. I should have ended it there. I should have confessed everything to Maya, begged for forgiveness, and spent the rest of my life making it up to her. But I didn't. I'm a coward. I've always been a coward. So I did what cowards do. I told Chloe to wait. Let me figure this out, I said. Don't say anything. Not yet. She agreed. Because she was in love with me, or she thought she was, and love makes you stupid. It makes you wait. It makes you believe that everything will work out if you just hold on a little longer. We held on for 3 more weeks. 3 weeks of pretending. 3 weeks of sitting across from Maya at dinner, knowing I'd knocked up her sister, and watching her cut my steak and ask about my day. 3 weeks of Chloe sending me panic texts at 2 a.m., asking what we were going to do. And then Maya invited us to dinner. Just the 3 of us. Like old times, she said. She made my favorite meal. She lit candles. She opened a bottle of wine that cost more than my first car. And I sat there, sweating, watching her move around the kitchen, and I thought she knows. She has to know. Why else would she do this? But I convinced myself I was paranoid. I convinced myself it was fine. She brought the food to the table. She stood at the head, raised her glass, and made a toast. To the 2 most important people in my life, she said. To new beginnings. To honesty. And to the baby. Chloe dropped her glass. It shattered on the floor, red wine spraying across the white tablecloth like blood. Her face went white. Mine went red. And Maya just stood there, watching us, with this look on her face that I will never forget as long as I live. It wasn't anger. It wasn't sadness. It was pity. She looked at us like we were children who'd broken something precious, and she was the only adult in the room. I know, Leo, she said. I've known for months. I knew before you did. I opened my mouth. Nothing came out. Yuri pregnant, Chloe, Maya continued, her voice calm. 8 weeks. I saw the test in your bathroom last week. You left it in the trash. Sloppy. Chloe started crying, sobbing, the ugly kind, and Maya just watched. I set this up, Maya said. Every weekend, I suggested you 2 spend together. Every time, I made myself scarce. Every conversation where I told each of you exactly what you wanted to hear. I did that. I made this happen. The room spun. I gripped the edge of the table. Why? I managed. Why would you do that? Maya looked at me, and for the first time, I saw something hard behind her eyes. Something cold. Because I wanted you to have exactly what you deserved, she said. Each other. A lifetime of it. You wanted excitement, Leo. You wanted someone who made you feel alive. Here she is. Pregnant. Scared. Needy. Enjoy. She pulled an envelope from her pocket and slid it across the table. Divorce papers. Already signed. I'm being generous, she said. I just want out. I want you to look at each other every day and remember how this started. I want you to raise that child in the shadow of what you did. I want you to have exactly the life you chose. She picked up her purse. She walked to the door. And right before she left, she turned back and delivered the final blow. Oh, and Chloe? She said, Mom and Dad know. I told them last night. They're heartbroken, but they'll come around eventually. They'll have to for the baby. And every time they look at you, every holiday, every birthday, they'll remember that you did this to their favorite daughter. The stable one. The one who never asked for anything. You'll never escape it. None of you will. Then she was gone. The door clicked shut. Chloe kept crying. I sat there, staring at the divorce papers, and I felt something I'd never felt before. Not guilt. Not yet. Something worse. I felt like I'd been outplayed. The next few months were a blur of logistics. Maya moved out. The divorce went through. She took half of everything and never asked for more. She didn't fight. She didn't scream. She just disappeared, blocked my number, moved to a different part of the city, became a ghost. Chloe and I got an apartment together. A small one. We couldn't afford the house on one income. I sold the place I'd shared with Maya, the place with the garden she'd planted and the walls she'd painted, and I watched strangers carry her life away in boxes. The baby came. A girl. We named her Lily. And that's when the real punishment began. Because here's the thing about affairs. They're built on stolen moments, on adrenaline, on the thrill of getting caught. But real life? Real life is 3 a.m. feedings and crying and arguments about money. Real life is looking at the woman across from you and realizing you don't actually know her. You just knew the version of her that existed in hotel rooms and parked cars. Chloe and I had nothing in common except guilt. She'd look at Lily sometimes, and I'd see her face crumple. She'd whisper, "She has Maya's eyes." And she was right. Lily had Maya's calm, steady gaze. The gaze of someone who sees right through you. And every time I looked at my daughter, I saw the woman I betrayed looking back at me. We fought constantly. About money. About sleep. About whose turn it was to change a diaper. About the fact that my parents wouldn't visit and her parents treated us like strangers at family gatherings. The affair that had felt so alive now felt like a prison. And the worst part? We couldn't even complain about it. Who would we complain to? We'd done this to ourselves. I started drinking. Nothing dramatic. Just enough to sleep. Just enough to stop the replay loop in my head. The loop where I saw Maya's face at that dinner table, calm and pitying, watching me destroy myself. I tried to reach out to her once. Send a text. Just "I'm sorry." She replied 3 days later. One word. "I know." That was it. No anger. No forgiveness. Just acknowledgement. Like I was a fact she'd accepted, not a person she still cared about. 3 years passed. Chloe and I got married. Not because we wanted to, but because it was easier than explaining why we hadn't. We had another kid. A boy. We bought a slightly bigger apartment. We became the thing I'd always feared, boring. But not the good kind of boring. The resentful kind. The kind where you sit across from each other at dinner and have nothing to say except whose fault everything is. I ran into Maya last week. It was at a coffee shop. I saw her before she saw me. She looked good, healthy, happy. She was with a guy, someone new, and she was laughing at something he said. Genuine laughter. The kind I hadn't heard in years. I almost left. I should have left. But my feet wouldn't move. She saw me. Her face didn't change. She said something to the guy, touched his arm, and walked over. "Leo," she said, like my name was just a word. Nothing behind it. "Hi, Maya." We stood there for a moment. Strangers who used to share a bed. "How are you?" she asked. It was such a normal question, such a small thing, and it broke something in me. Because how was I? I was a man who'd traded a marriage for an affair, who'd traded stability for chaos, who'd traded a woman who loved him for a woman who reminded him every day of what he'd lost. "I'm tired," I said. She nodded, like she expected that. "Take care of yourself, Leo." And she walked away, back to her new life, her new man, her new happiness. She didn't gloat. She didn't rub it in. She just left. And that was worse. That was so much worse. Because it meant I didn't matter to her anymore. I was just a chapter she closed. I went home that night and looked at Chloe. Really looked at her. She was putting the kids to bed, tired and frayed, and nothing like the woman who'd smiled at me in that backyard. And I realized something. Maya didn't just predict this. She designed it. She knew Chloe would never make me happy. She knew the thrill would fade. She knew that once the affair became real life, we'd destroy each other. And she gave us exactly what we wanted so we could do it to ourselves. That's the revenge. Not anger. Not destruction. Just clarity. The terrible, undeniable clarity of waking up every morning and knowing you did this. You chose this. You burned your life down, and now you have to live in the ashes. I'm not telling you this for sympathy. I don't deserve sympathy. I'm telling you this because someone out there is thinking about it. Someone out there is looking at their boring, stable marriage and wondering what it would be like to feel alive again. Don't. It's not alive. It's a trap. And the person you're betraying? They might not fight you. They might not scream. They might just smile, open the door, and let you walk into the prison you built for yourself. My name is Leo. I'm 37 years old. I have 2 kids I love more than anything, and a wife I can barely look at. And every night, when I close my eyes, I see Maya's face at that dinner table and wonder, do I really love my kids? Calm, pitying, watching me fall. And the worst part? She was right.